Reports have identified Chinese overseas police stations operating across at least 53 countries. Their reported purpose was to serve Chinese nationals abroad, but the stations also raised allegations of intimidation, surveillance, and pressure against dissidents. So, why should you care? Because a government that can reach into foreign cities can affect whether citizens, students, journalists, and activists feel safe speaking freely. The issue reaches beyond diplomatic boundaries. It concerns the ability of open societies to protect people living inside them from pressure directed by another state. How far can Beijing's influence travel beyond China's borders? The investigation begins with the system that links overseas pressure to domestic control. If you want to understand how China's influence seeps into every corner of the globe, you need to know the name: the United Front Work Department. The UFWD isn't just another government agency. It's the CCP's secret weapon for political warfare, infiltration, and manipulation. Its mission? To co-opt, corrupt, and control. And its reach is far deeper than most people realize. The UFWD operates in the shadows, but its fingerprints are everywhere. In Australia, UFWD-linked operatives funneled millions in political donations to both major parties, buying access and influence at the highest levels of government. In Canada, a 2023 intelligence report revealed that UFWD proxies had infiltrated Chinese-Canadian community organizations, using them to intimidate dissidents and sway elections. In the US, the FBI has warned that the UFWD targets Chinese student associations, business chambers, and even local school boards, pressuring them to toe Beijing's line or face consequences. Author Alex Joske says, "The United Front is the party's magic weapon, a vast network of influence operations designed to shape foreign opinion, suppress dissent, and advance China's interests by any means necessary." But it gets even more brazen. In Sweden, UFWD-linked groups organized protests and online harassment campaigns against journalists who reported on China's human rights abuses. In New Zealand, a sitting member of parliament was exposed as a former UFWD trainer, briefing Chinese intelligence on how to influence Kiwi politics. In the US, the Department of Justice has charged individuals with acting as illegal agents of the UFWD, including attempts to spy on and silence Chinese dissidents living on American soil. The UFWD's reach extends into academia too. American universities have hosted Confucius Institutes funded and directed by the UFWD, which have been caught censoring discussion of Tibet, Taiwan, and Tiananmen Square. In 2020, the US State Department designated the Confucius Institute US Center as a foreign mission, citing its role in spreading CCP propaganda and suppressing academic freedom. Former National Security Advisor Matt Pottinger says, "The United Front Work Department is the most important organization most Americans have never heard of. Its goal is to infiltrate, influence, and ultimately control the conversation about China everywhere it matters." This isn't just soft power, it's a full-spectrum campaign of subversion. The UFWD recruits scientists, business leaders, and politicians, offering money, prestige, or threats, whatever it takes to get them on Beijing's side. It organizes rallies, funds lawsuits, and even runs disinformation campaigns to smear critics and manipulate public opinion. China's espionage operations are not limited by geography or industry. They are global, relentless, and growing more sophisticated every year. The Chinese Communist Party's ambition is nothing less than to become the world's dominant superpower, and espionage is one of its most effective weapons. In Europe, Chinese espionage has become a top concern for intelligence agencies. In 2020, the head of Germany's domestic intelligence agency warned that China was targeting German lawmakers, business leaders, and scientists with a combination of cyber attacks, social engineering, and old-fashioned recruitment. The United Kingdom's MI5 has issued similar warnings, reporting that Chinese agents have attempted to infiltrate parliament and influence policy through donations and lobbying. In France, authorities uncovered a network of Chinese operatives who had recruited more than 100 local officials and business executives over a 5-year period, offering bribes and business opportunities in exchange for sensitive information. In South Korea and Japan, the CCP's focus is on advanced technology and military secrets. In 2019, a South Korean court convicted a former Samsung executive of stealing OLED display technology and selling it to a Chinese firm, costing Samsung an estimated $6 billion in potential revenue. Japanese authorities have reported a surge in cyber attacks on defense contractors and research institutions, with the National Police Agency attributing many of these attacks to Chinese state actors. Taiwan faces an even more intense campaign. In 2022 alone, Taiwan's government reported over 5 million cyber attacks per month, the vast majority traced back to China. These attacks target everything from government databases to election infrastructure, aiming to destabilize Taiwan's democracy and assert Beijing's claim over the island. The global reach of China's espionage is not just about stealing secrets, it's about shifting the balance of power. The Center for Strategic and International Studies has documented more than 160 publicly reported cases of Chinese espionage outside China since 2000, spanning over 30 countries in every major industry, from aerospace and defense to pharmaceuticals and energy. The CCP's strategy is clear: weaken competitors, strengthen its own position, and quietly rewrite the rules of global engagement. The world is waking up to the scale of this campaign, but the question remains: can democracies respond quickly enough to protect their interests? In 2022, the FBI reported that it was opening a new China-related counterintelligence case every 12 hours. Across Europe, agencies like MI5 and Germany's BFV have issued public warnings about Chinese espionage and have increased surveillance of suspected operatives. But the fight isn't just happening in government offices. Businesses are investing heavily in cybersecurity, employee training, and supply chain vetting. According to a 2022 report by the U.S. National Counterintelligence and Security Center, U.S. companies increased their cybersecurity spending by 17% in the past year, with much of that growth driven by concerns over Chinese cyber espionage and intellectual property theft. Allies are working together as well. The Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, comprising the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, has ramped up information sharing and joint operations targeting Chinese espionage networks. In 2023, coordinated raids in multiple countries led to the dismantling of a major Chinese cyber espionage ring targeting critical infrastructure and research institutions. On the legislative front, new laws are being passed to close loopholes and strengthen defenses. The European Union has introduced stricter foreign investment screening, while Australia's Foreign Influence Transparency Scheme now requires individuals and organizations acting on behalf of foreign governments to register their activities. These measures are designed to shine a light on covert influence and make it harder for foreign agents to operate in the shadows. The battle against Chinese espionage is far from over, but the West is no longer asleep at the wheel. By combining vigilance, innovation, and international cooperation, democracies are beginning to push back against Beijing's campaign and reclaim control over their own future. So I'll ask again, why should you care? Because we are witnessing the erosion of trust, not just in governments and media, but in reality itself. The CCP's spy strategy is bigger than intelligence. It's about soft power, long-term influence, and shaping global narratives to their advantage. If we don't act, we're surrendering the future to a regime that values control over truth, loyalty over freedom, and obedience over thought. This series wasn't about fear, it was about awakening, because understanding the game is the first step to refusing to play it. So what can you do? Call your congressional representatives and demand accountability for foreign influence operations. Support legislation that strengthens cybersecurity and restricts sensitive data accessed by foreign nationals. If you're part of a business, university, or media organization, start auditing for conflict of interest ties to CCP-linked entities. Speak up, because silence is what gives them power. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks foreign spies only target politicians. If this pulled back the curtain on how espionage happens right here in the open, I want your perspective. What did I miss? What would you add? What still doesn't sit right? Leave a comment. I'll respond to everyone and highlight the best insights in a future episode. Find me at Why You Should Care Now on all platforms, or reach out directly at info@whyyousshouldcarenow.com. Full breakdowns and bonus content are at whyyousshouldcarenow.com. Information is the weapon. They're counting on you to stay asleep.